What does recording the sound of wind have to do with the movies Star Wars and The Exorcist? We'll find out in today's episode of It's Not What You Think. I'm still waiting for that intro of music to kick in right about now. Well, I guess we'll move on to it's time for 1001 Coffees. Again, this would be great to have just a little bit of music. Today's coffee, Folgers Noir, in the Folgers Noir series. It'll be the third one in the series. It's called Rich Satin. And it's second in the medium, in the darkness rating scale. It's 2, so that would be in the middle. A dark roast with a full body and smooth finish. I guess if it's a smooth finish, then Rich Satin should come to mind. Let's take a sip of dark. Definitely a little on the light side. Not as black as the blackest coffee I've drank. Let's put in a little extra because I prefer mine with cream and sugar. And here's our cup of Rich Satin. It's a mild flavor, getting a good amount of cream and sugar. It's got a nice warming sensation. Is it full-bodied? It's definitely got a smooth finish. Full body, it's a little light-bodied, if you ask me. Take it from me, I know what full-bodied is. This is a little on the lighter side of full body, let's just say. What a pleasing cup of coffee. So there you have Rich Satin for today's 1001 coffee pick. We are in the midst of exploring the sounds of the elements, and today is the second in the series where we'll be exploring the sounds of wind, the element of air. We're going to rely heavily on the Encyclopedia of Musical Instruments by Robert Dearling, and the sounds of winds immediately brings to mind Irv Tybell, who was an American field recordist, graphic designer, and photographer, bringing soundscapes with his environmental series, Wind in the Trees. When we think of wind and music, wind chimes automatically comes to mind, and they are a household item. They come in different materials, primarily metal, but sometimes you'll find wooden ones. They come in all different shapes and sizes. The largest one is in Illinois. It's 12 feet long. Now, a lesser known wind-operated musical instrument is called the Aeolian Harp, and it was created way back in the time of ancient Greek. If you remember, they created the hydraulis, the water organ, and here they created the Aeolian harp, or the wind harp. So it's very interesting that they had a mind of using the elements to create music. It's called the Aeolian harp after the Greek god Aeolus, the god of the winds. And they come in different shapes and sizes. You can see some beautiful ones here. There's one in Italy, and the largest one is in New Mexico. It's got 45 strings, and it stands 24 feet high. Now we're going to listen to from Roger Winfield, Voices of the Wind. Roger Winfield set up several of his wind harps that he constructed, and this is what a wind harp sounds like. Now look, let's compare and contrast the sound of one wind harp with another. Do they have drastically different sounds, or are they quite similar? Here's one that is sculpted by Thomas Ward McCain in Vermont, and we'll listen to another 5-minute excerpt from this recording. Now, wasn't there a sort of creepiness to the sound, or a hauntingness to the sound? It's got a spooky quality to it. And if you said to yourself, yeah, that's got a spookiness to it, then you're not the only one. Because apparently they decided that this is definitely one of the spookier sounds that we've come across, and we're going to put it in the soundtrack to The Exorcist. Check this out. Did you catch that? No, if you blink, you missed it. You may have to rewind it and go back and listen to it. It's a very small clip. And is that all? That just that small little portion? I mean, it is on the soundtrack as a 3-minute excerpt called The Wind Harp. So we had to go back and rewatch the whole movie, and this is what we came up with. So try not to focus too heavily on what you see, but listen intently to the sound in the background. I think we found our wind harp.
When I touch your forehead, open your eyes. Are you comfortable, Reagan?
Yes,
How old are you?
12.
Is there someone inside you?
Sometimes.
Who is it?
I don't know.
Is it Captain Howdy?
I don't know.
If I ask him to tell me, will you let him answer?
No,
Why not?
I'm afraid.
If he talks to me, I think he'll leave you. Do you want him to leave you?
Yes.
I'm speaking to the person inside of Reagan now. If you are there, you too are hypnotized and must answer all my questions. Come forward.
That may not be the first time that a wind harp has made its way into the cinema. Wind harps are all over the place. In fact, I'm sure you live really close to one. Come on. Wires that are suspended and vibrate in the wind. What does that sound like? Telegraph poles. Telephone wires. Exactly. Telephone wires technically are wind harps. And that brings us to Alan Lamb. Alan Lamb is a sound artist, composer, sculptor, and biomedical researcher born in Edinburgh, Scotland. Now, he came to the same conclusion that these telephone wires are wind harps that we've constructed. And so he decided that he was going to record the sound of abandoned telegraph wires in Australia that are making experimental music from the wind. So you're going to hear the buzz and crackles. You've heard that before just by passing by a supercharged electric wire, the buzzing. And there is a pinging sound as birds land on them. And in fact, I read that those pinging sounds stimulated the sound engineers to seek out and speak with Alan Lamb to discuss how he was coming up with his sounds so they could use those in Star Wars for the blaster or phaser sounds. The only thing that concerns me is that Alan Lamb came out with this recording in around 1981, and the Star Wars movies came out in 1977. So I'm not sure how reliable that story is. Anyway, listen to it. It does sound like Star Wars. That brings us to the close of this episode, listening to the sounds of winds. Before we go, do want to raise the question, other than experimental sounds and avant-garde music, has anyone composed it with the intentional use of the Aeolian harp or the sound of wind? And I can only find one jazz artist. His name is Jan Garbarek. I hope I'm getting his name correct. He's a Norwegian saxophone player, and he came out with an album called Dis. And Dis has 3 tracks in which he uses as a drone accompaniment the Aeolian harp, and it really sets a nice mood for the piece, or the pieces, since there are 3. But other than Jan, I really don't know of anyone else who has used the Aeolian harp or the sounds of wind in a constructed composition. So maybe you'll go out and you'll get a copy of Jan's album, Dis, and until next time, we'll see you.